Last time on Square Roots, we visit the bombed-out shell of Sylphie's home, discover our shared past, and beat up the nice lady who raised us. Also, Squall finally decides what to do about those hot dogs. A little mustard, cheese, chopped onion, and nothing else. That's the official hot dog of the Square Roots podcast. Hot dogs for a better night's sleep.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello.
John Ruby Dragon Brandon.
Goodbye, Ruby Dragon.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs like Final Fantasy VIII, and we play them one chunker at a time.
Final Fantasy VIII is great.
You know what? I like the plot stuff in this chunk. I like it.
Hey, Jim. You know how I feel like we've been outgrowing the Square Roots house. And we didn't snatch up
Literally. I've become so fat.
the Sierra house
I'm bursting
in
through
time,
the windows.
so that's no longer for sale. But have you seen the 90s dad decor of the current mansion for sale, Joe Pesci's mansion?
You know, I've actually not seen it, just heard about it.
Let me copy a link
really
into our group chat. So
Is that one of the ones that has a toilet on the stairs?
it doesn't have a toilet on the stairs, but you can tell that he got rich in like 1993 because of all the white walls, all of the overstuffed black leather couches.
That can't be the living room. No one would live in that room.
No one would live in any of these
Wow,
rooms.
look at that house.
It is,
The outside,
it is
though.
like straight out of like the movie Casino is kind of what it looks like.
Oh,
It is. It looks like an awful 90s hotel, basically.
what's it on?
This house looks amazing. You people are
Where's
crazy.
it at?
Ooh, teal countertops and the chairs are,
It's in
the bar
New
stools are
Jersey.
ugly. Take down all of the Joe Pesci posters
Well,
first. And
can I
then
leave that Michael Jackson's Moonwalker poster up, or is it problematic?
I like that poster of the enforcer that's just his face.
But
I mean, they're not black leather couches. There's two black leather recliners and like a gray suede
yeah, that's true. There's
or a patterned suede couch.
I would
It's an
describe
ugly couch, though.
everything as like overstuffed, though, and all the walls just perfectly white.
They are.
There's a 19-inch
white walls.
CRT in his office, which I think is quite great. Next to a printed out still of him holding up his Oscar.
This
Is that an
living
office, do
room
you
is
think?
just like
I
as
think it
beige
is.
as could possibly be, with the
kitchen's
exception
nice,
of that
though.
Michael Jackson poster. It's the only color in the room.
It
Oh, yeah.
is.
That TV in that office is just amazing.
I mean, it's kind of like, imagine going to your parents' house,
got a
except
bar.
that the parents' house has like 40 more rooms.
yeah.
And all the stuff is either duplicated or spread out across 40 giant rooms.
Amazing.
He also has a
got a nice
meme
kitchen.
that is like printed out onto canvas and hung on the wall.
What meme is that?
I guess it's a meme about himself or a picture of him, and it says, "If it ain't about this shit, don't ask me for shit." Or if you ain't
does.
about
That's
this shit,
crazy.
don't ask
Where do
me
you
for
see
shit.
that?
It is in the photo of his living room, I guess, which is very strange. It's like,
that is a meme. Just overlooking the sitting area.
yeah, and the furniture in the sitting area is like crammed into one little corner, and then it just
I mean,
has
look at that pool, though.
big open floor.
It's right on it's got a dock.
The pool does look pretty great, I gotta admit. I have lived in a place with a pool once, and it was the best time of my life. I swam every day.
I have a pool, but it's like half the size of a regular pool. It's like a pool with the deep end cut off. It's the worst pool imaginable.
But it's a pool still.
It's like a
Also, the
splashing
trees
pool.
overhang it, so it's always super duper cold. And that might sound great, but it's not. It sucks.
Well, why don't we move in to the level up segment where we ask. Oh, Matt, you forgot to ask Jim if he said what we do on this show.
Am I obligated to ask that?
Yeah, whose turn is it to forget?
Jim, you should forget whether or not you
I already did.
said
I
what
did
we
that
do
2
on the
weeks
show.
ago.
Well, maybe we just all know what we do on the show now.
Yeah.
Aw.
All right. Let's level up. John, I want to hear how you leveled up.
You want to hear how I leveled up after all we've been through, Jim?
Oh, they're there. You know
Aw.
that most of the time we've already heard about these things from each other, but it's not just for us, it's for the listeners too.
Well,
To skip past,
Thank you.
to get to the actual show.
Some people only listen to the level up. That's a fact.
wow.
You're talking about your one friend specifically.
She will not continue to hear you talk about JRPGs. She just
She
wants to
does
hear
not
about
want to
your
hear about
day.
it. Yeah. It's very sweet, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. What did I do? I've been watching a set of movies because I have to.
Good ones?
No, I wouldn't call them that.
I wouldn't say you have to.
I have been watching, however, or playing. I've been playing The Division 2, and it's one of those games where I'm like, the politics are really bad, but it plays super great. Like, it's a fun Destiny-style multiplayer game, although I can't seem to actually find people to play it with, so that's kind of a problem.
Is it on Game Pass?
No. But it was like, I think I bought it for $10 or something last week. I think it might still be on sale. So I think The Division has my favorite, like, cover shooter combat. Like, it's got really fun special abilities, and just like the shooting feels really good, and there's lots of different types of guns, but it's also like super conservative. Like, everyone you're fighting in the opening hours are like, they look like protesters. Like, they look like Antifa,
Oh, no.
and you're like dressed up in like not military but military stuff, like you bought it for yourself and are from a militia.
Mhm.
Oh, like dad tactical stuff?
Yes.
Military cosplay?
You are totally in military cosplay fighting what looks like Antifa in and they're like shown to be these like out of control dinguses, and it's just, oh no.
Dingus.
It's not the, you really have to like shut that critique part of your brain off to enjoy it, and I'm sure but I do, it just plays really well. I think it's the best playing Ubisoft game, and it is fun walking around. Also, I've been playing Fallout 4 now that they've patched it to run there, so it's like it's got something called an FPS boost on Series X and Series S, where you got to like go into the menu before you start the game and then choose FPS boost to make it run fast, because I think it's like is slightly janky and might cause a couple of bugs, so that's why it doesn't come on by default. But it looks amazing.
Oh, I wondered why you were playing Fallout 4 again.
Yeah, I wanted to play it on my new system and have it look really pretty. Plus, I love that game. I think
It's a great game.
It is. And Division 2 does have Washington, D.C. That's where it's set, and it is a very detailed recreation of Washington. However, I don't think I'm going to talk... You know, there's some games I think I have a chance of talking Vanessa into playing, like Final Fantasy 14, but Division 2 is not one I think I can talk.
No, thank you.
I'll try to remember to give it a download. I'm interested. I've been interested in that game for a long time.
I played the original Division for a minute with a buddy of mine when it first came out, but I didn't really get into it.
So you don't play against other players, you play against...
It's like
the AI?
PvE.
PvE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like the Destiny Strikes. But there is a PvP zone in the game, so you can do like combat. I just never have been there. Also, I have been playing more Final Fantasy 14. I got there. So there's one of the first things I had to do in the game was this. It's called the Trial, which is like a boss fight, but you have to like get a whole team of real humans together to fight this boss. and it's called The Good King Moogle, the 12th fight. And it has lyrics to the boss fight about what a great Moogle this Moogle is. It is full. It is so great. I put a video of a bit of it on our Facebook group. And if I know you can kind of do like cross-world play in that game. So if anyone wants to play Final Fantasy XIV with me, hit me up on the Facebook or on the Discord would actually be a better place to hit me up about that. Go if you are looking for the Discord, just ask our Twitter or our Facebook for the link. And
I don't know the link to the Discord. Don't ask the Twitter.
Ask the Twitter, and then the Twitter will ask me, and then I'll give you the link. I don't think I can talk Vanessa into playing Final Fantasy XIV because she's like, I showed her some cutscenes and she's like, oh, this looks really good. But then Vanessa looked at a YouTube video of someone actually playing the game. She's like, there are too many windows. There's like 18,000 windows and numbers everywhere. I don't want to play that.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. Look, I'm not an MMO like ignoramus. I played DC Universe Online all the way to the max level, and I don't want to do it again. You know, I had that experience. And then, like, it's an MMO, so people are like, hey, let's play together. And I'm like, gross, leave me alone. But then you end up in, like, someone's clan, and then you're going on scheduled raids. It's ridiculous.
And that's Vanessa on MMOs. Okay, Vanessa.
Yeah.
If you're not playing Final Fantasy XIV, how did you level up?
Well, when I'm not playing Final Fantasy XIV, I like to watch documentary movies. And this week I watched a new documentary on Netflix called Operation Varsity Blues. It is about the college admissions scandal, which you may recall as taking down actress Felicity Huffman.
So it's not about the football team that has one linebacker played by Ethan Suplee?
No, it's nothing about that. It was just the name of the FBI operation. They called it Varsity Blues because they also saw that
Remember the
movie.
Titans. That was Remember the Titans.
Wow. Well, you just exposed my ignorance and yours about football movies, so thank you for that. People are going to be outraged. They're going to be like, I thought you were a football movie fan. You've just been faking it for attention. And they're going to be right.
If there's one thing I know about John, it's that he rarely ever slips up in his sports movie.
That's true.
That's true.
So this documentary has a lot of recreation, but it is like verbatim recreation of the recorded phone calls that the FBI did. So they have actors, but they're reenacting these actual phone calls about this scheme to get children into prestigious schools. And then it's about the investigation and how they caught these people and the repercussions of it. It's very interesting, very fun. It's fun to watch a documentary about something that sort of has a satisfying result, you know? Like, there's a lot of documentaries out there these days that are like, here's something terrible that happened and it's still happening. And so think about how you have to like do something about it. This, you don't have to do anything about it. It's already taken care of. And I find that refreshing. Operation Varsity Blues. Why not watch that? Matt, how did you level up?
You should watch Varsity Blues. That is a great movie. Hi, friends. I don't know if you have heard, but a great new movie was just released on HBO Max this past week. And I, in preparation for this great-looking movie, did rewatch the entire Zack Snyder DC Extended Universe trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and, of course, the 4-hour Justice League Snyder Cut. Let me preface this by saying I really like Batman vs. Superman, even though I recognize that it is not a very well-written movie. I think it has a lot of positives, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I love it. I was very disappointed in the original Justice League, and while I can tell you honestly that I have never in my life typed the words "release the Snyder Cut" unironically, I am glad it exists. I had a great time with it. And if you have not seen it and have any interest at all in seeing it, I think you should watch it. I think it's way better than the original cut. It cut out a lot of things that I hated from that version of the movie. It added a bunch of fun stuff and more character development for some great characters. It is half slow-mo, so that's a lot. And it's 4 hours long, which is way too much. And Vanessa wants to record a bonus episode about it, so I don't want to say a lot. But I do want to say I liked it. I liked it a lot. Problems? Yes, it has them. Worth seeing? Fun time movie? Yeah, sure. Why not?
I have a question.
What say you, Jim and Vanessa?
I have a question.
I have a question.
Would you have been happy to watch this movie in a theater?
No, I would never watch a 4-hour movie in a theater. Never. Never.
I've done it, but it had an intermission.
I can't sit, and I can't do that for sure. 2 hours is a stretch for me, to be honest with you, in a movie theater. I like movie theaters, but I don't like being in movie theaters.
I think for me, it's like if I know a movie is going to last longer than maybe like 2 hours and 15 minutes, then I worry about like when am I going to schedule a bathroom break? Because the worst feeling in the world is needing to like go pee during a third act when you know you shouldn't leave because you're going to miss something, but also like you feel like you're going to burst.
There's an app for that. Did you know that? I've heard of
I
it.
did not know that.
Yeah, there's some kind of app.
You see this? You hear about this?
Yeah, you hear about this? You put it on your phone and you put in what movie you're watching and what time it starts, and then it will vibrate when it's time for you to take your bathroom break. And
There's several apps for it, actually. Run Pee, P&C.
Yeah, P&C and
Free Pee.
Go Pee and Pee Your Pants and Piss at the Flicks. There's tons of these, and
If I were to make an app about that, I would call it Run DMP. Oh, really?
DMP?
Well, instead of Run DMC, Run DMP, because you're gonna run and pee. But you know what? I don't criticize your ideas, Jim.
Yeah, you do. All the time.
No, I criticize your ideas, Matt.
Well, maybe you're right.
wow.
Maybe even I am confusing Jim and I at this point. Anyway, I know that Jim and Vanessa watched it as well. Do you guys want to give a quick thumbs up or thumbs down?
Vanessa, you go first.
I'm not angry about having watched it.
Just disappointed.
No, I wouldn't say that because I went in with no expectations. So you really can't be disappointed. I will say love is a strong word. I always think I'm a fan of things and then I meet people who are real fans and I don't measure up. I like the DC universe. I like the characters. I really don't like overuse of slow motion in films, which I feel is a hallmark of Zack Snyder's style. He likes to just show you a picture in a frame. I don't have the patience for it. I don't know. I feel when it's overused, it takes away the specialness of it. And so it's difficult for me to watch his films for that reason. But I'm not angry about having watched it. And that is pretty surprising for me.
What about you, Jim?
I will say that I felt so burned by Batman vs. Superman. I didn't even bother with the original Justice League. I was like, I did not like Batman vs. Superman, and I was like, I'm not gonna like Justice League if it's just more of that. So,
I
just
hadn't
avoided
seen the original Justice League either.
Yeah, and so, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give the Snyder Cut a chance. And I wasn't disappointed, honestly. I felt like it was a pretty it kept my attention throughout all 4 hours, which I did not expect, even though there was some stuff that I would call stupid and hammy and a lot of stuff that just seemingly didn't make any sense. It was still entertaining. And you know, I don't regret having watched it. It was a good, entertaining superhero flick.
There are definitely some plot points that just don't make sense. I feel like bad writing is baked into this series, it seems like. I don't know why that is.
It feels like
but
there's like
just
there's
kind
like
of
a
is.
there's a weird vibe to a lot of the DCEU stuff that I wish they would figure out how to just exercise out of it.
This is a lot of
sure.
talk
I mean,
about
it's-
something where we're having a bonus episode about it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay, well,
Yeah, so thumbs up.
thumbs up. Thumbs up for Jim, thumbs up for Matthew, thumbs kind of tucked away in her pocket for Vanessa, and for Johnny, we'll see.
Yeah.
I will say that I think that after a year of quarantine, my standards are a lot more liberal. Like anything that's novel pretty much gets like an immediate 5 points. It's like, this is not my walls of my house that I've been looking at for an entire year. I love it.
So let's move on. Jim, I believe you're the last that needs to level up. Is that right? Or is it John?
Yes.
No, it's not John.
No,
John
it's
started.
me. So I recently finished a playthrough, my second playthrough of the game Prey, the
Ooh, really?
2017 version that recently hit Game Pass. I downloaded it and replayed it, and I did one playthrough of it on the PS4. Thought it was just okay. Didn't really catch me. I had a much better experience the second playthrough. I did a bunch of the side missions. I did a bunch of the crafting, did a lot of the powers. I had a great time with it. I played it on easy mode, so maybe that helped, but
Are you going to try the Moon Crash or whatever the DLC is called?
no, I'm not super interested in those like procedurally generated. It's a procedurally generated kind of dungeon crawler thing.
Yeah, it sounds kind of neat. I think I might download it just to play that.
Neat, but I just don't know if it's my thing. The combat in Prey is kind of I don't know. It's the best / worst part. It's rewarding, but it's kind of frustrating. So I don't know that I'd be into it, but I liked all the plot beats. I liked playing it. I just liked it a lot more, the lack of load times. A lot of the game is moving between different parts of the space station, and on PS4 the load times were kind of a burden.
It's for sure like a very Metroidvania style FPS.
Yes, for sure.
Reminds me a lot of Metroid. For the was it Metroid Prime?
Yeah, it's very like that. But yeah, with the load times all but gone, it was a much more enjoyable experience. So I recommend Prey. It's a fun game, a great first-person shooter with a lot of cool mechanics. You can turn into mugs and like slide through windows. Like it's great. It's a fun game to play. So yeah, that's how I leveled up.
Cool.
Let's get into the quest log. There's a lot of stuff in this chunker.
There's not. This is such a short chunker. We
But
should be able to
there's a
get through
lot
this
of
in
plot
30
stuff.
minutes. Is there?
I don't remember, but there was a whole silent film that was being shot on a video camera that happened in the middle of this. So something happened.
There's a porn, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
They film a porn.
It does seem like it's going to be the Ruby Dragon and XXX erotic porn parody.
Yeah, for sure. Sponsored by Bad Dragon, I imagine.
Yes, because
Final Fantasy VIII can get sponsored by Bad Dragon, but the Square Roots podcast can't. Blah.
We've been trying for years. Sponsor our show. We know you're listening.
Yeah, obviously. We keep getting these giant dragon dildos in the mail. Who else is sending these to us?
I haven't been getting any. Vanessa, have you got any?
No.
Oh.
Jim, have you been getting big dragon dildos in the mail?
No.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Matt, you might want to look into that.
It's weird because my credit card is always like way higher than I expect it to be. I think I found the culprit.
You, when you're drunk?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and pretend like I really want dildos, you know? Trying not to turn this into like a gay joke, so...
Right.
Doop-de-doop-de-doop.
Hey, Straight men can use a dildo just as easily as a gay man
Yeah.
can.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point.
Yeah. So let's turn
So,
to the quest log.
according to that, I have been ordering really large dragon dildos for myself. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
You know, I'm a single guy.
Yep.
I like to party.
Who doesn't? So let's talk about the garden post Sorceress fight. So this is after you had that big fight with Sorceress. It was epic, and then she seemed to be nice, but Rinoa first was caressing Cypher's unconscious body and then passed out. So
Yeah, I kind of forgot what happened to her, and I was real confused when I started this chunker, and they were like, Renault's dead. And I was like, huh?
she's in a coma. So you start smash cut to Squall next to Renoa's bed. He's very upset. He finally realizes he has feelings for Renoa, who has been basically relentlessly pursuing him ever since they met. So
I mean, we get a we get a lot of character development out of Squall finally.
Yeah.
In this chunker.
I mean, it's all internal monologue, but that's okay. Sometimes people have a hard time expressing themselves, and Squall.
I mean, that's a choice that the game makes, and I don't necessarily love it, but I don't hate it.
Well, I mean, there's certain animes where a character is super depressed and has a constant internal monologue, but in the anime you don't see it. I'm not going to name names here, but let's just say it rhymes with B Van Bellion. So at least here you can get an idea of what he's thinking instead of just long shots of Squall walking down a road while you hear cicadas. You know? Anyway, so his internal monologue is now just non-stop. He is very upset about everything, but is brought out of his malaise by a message on the PA. I do not like that this little group of seeds is using the PA system of the entire school just to talk to each other now. Like, they're ignoring all the other students, and they're just like, hey, Squall, I know you're having a bad time. Come up and see me. It's like...
I mean, I don't think that anybody's like in class at this point, so...
Well, I think that they should be. What are they going to do? Like distance learning from their rooms? We have to accept the fact that the Sorceress War 2 is happening, and students should be put into the classrooms. Who cares about the danger? Okay, maybe that was too close to reality.
Squall has been named like the head of the garden too, so
That's
it's
true.
like-
Garden commander.
yeah. It's like when your school is like, Mr. Principal, please report to your office.
But it's
not
always
that
more than that.
unusual.
It's like, Mr. Principal, I know you're not feeling great, but could you come to the office? It's like there's a little editorializing you normally wouldn't hear over the PA. So you go up to the control area, the bridge. It's like Star Trek. I've never had a Final Fantasy with like a bridge. Oh no, you know what? I guess Final Fantasy VII they did have bridge scenes.
What about Final Fantasy X?
There were. You don't really. Maybe 10-2.
Yeah.
10-2.
What about Final Fantasy X-2?
10-2 for sure. You're right. Never. You know what?
For sure in 10-2.
I'm just going to retreat to my apology corner.
Apology den.
Apology den.
And say there's plenty of Final Fantasy games with bridge scenes. So, the Sorceress is back at her house, which is the orphanage you grew up in. So you head back over there, and you get there, and it's pretty junky. Like, pillars have fallen over, it's grown over. No one has been maintaining this beautiful, like, classic house. Like, this is obviously like a heritage house that shouldn't be left to just dissolve like this. It should be there's a lot of history
Rob
here.
Sid Williams is there, like, hiding in the rubble, which is weird.
The flower field around it still looks very nice.
Yeah, that's true. So there's this beautiful house. You go inside, you run into like a cowering Sid, and He's like, oh, I just ran away because I'm a scaredy cat. Because, like, either you're going to kill my wife, which would make me sad, or my wife's going to kill you, which would make me sad. So, lose.
Well, he is in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Situation?
You know what?
Situation.
He just.
Although he kind of designed this organization with that goal in mind, so it's hard, I don't really feel for Cid in this. Like, he created Cid with the express purpose of murdering his wife,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah, it was basically a Kramer versus Kramer scenario. And
That's not what Kramer versus Kramer is about.
Vanessa,
That is actually not what Kramer versus Kramer is about.
I'm saying that Sid Kramer versus Adia Kramer scenario.
Oh, I see.
Because
Of
their last
course.
name is Kramer.
Oh.
And he just says, hey.
That's in the Snyder cut of Kramer versus
Yeah.
Kramer, where they're the sorceress and mercenaries.
I gotta admit, as much as I'd like to call myself a film snob, I would much prefer watching a version of Kramer versus Kramer that's about sorceresses and flying schools and magic and explosions than a legal drama. Anyway, he says you should forgive Adia, and you go talk to her. And at this point, you can play cards with her, although she has some messed up rules, let me tell you. Because she's like, I want to talk to you about what happened. And then Squall's like, yeah, actually, can we play some cards first? But no, I mean, now's the time that I need to tell you about what's going. Yeah, but I hear you got some great cards. And she's like, all right, but I'm going to use the most messed up rules ever. So good luck, dummy.
She does have messed up rules.
Yep, she has some bonkers rules. So she drops some plot grenades that explode like big fat truth bombs and annihilate our minds. She reveals she's actually a pretty down-to-earth gal who doesn't want to murder everyone.
Yeah.
She doesn't actually want to murder everyone. It's because she's like, well, I know I've sounded evil before, but I've been possessed by a sorceress from the future named Ultimisia. Are you buying this? Is this? Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of the most logical explanation, I guess, for any of this stuff. Nothing's really made sense.
So obviously, when I said you're all maggots and I'm going to control you, that wasn't me. It was a sorceress from the future named Ultimisia. And
Sure it was.
and she turns to the camera and gives a big wink. It was Ultimisia all along.
Wait, does she? I thought it was Ultimisia all along.
I don't know.
It was.
I'm just doing
Maybe.
a bit. I'm doing a riff. A riff
This is a weird fucking twist for this game, by the way.
I'm just saying
a
It's
witch from
very
the future
weird.
Well-
is trying to change time, and you have to stop her. I
I-
don't know. It's fun. That's a fun plot twist.
It is. I'm just saying that everyone's real credulous that someone's like, actually, I shouldn't be prosecuted for all these crimes I did because a witch from the future was controlling me, who you haven't seen or heard of before, but just trust me on this. It's obviously.
Also, there's another witch in another country that she's going to possess next that you got to go assassinate, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, she is from the future. She sent her spirit back in time to possess me. She can only possess sorceresses. There's another sorceress who I think is dead, but maybe not. And this sorceress from the future is probably going to possess her body.
And the
if not
sorceress
me.
is someone like you, but not you. But she's rolling in the deep, right? The other sorceress?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
her
one-
name is Adele. And
Yes.
she's like, hello, it's me. I was wondering if you would like to come and possess me.
Vanessa, if I did a bunch of crimes and then told you actually it was a sorcerer from the future that was controlling me, would you like immediately believe me?
I would believe that you believed it.
Guys, I did a lore exploration on this game today because I wanted to understand what was behind all the sorceress stuff. And this game, I guess, somewhere in the game, I don't know where you find it, but it goes too far as to explain like the god of this universe was a sorcerer who created the universe, and then he created these sorceresses who would pass down their powers generationally. It's a neat bit of mythology in this game that
There's
I thought
weird
was pretty
little,
cool.
yeah, there's like weird little bits of mythology. Like once there was God, but nobody liked him, so he broke up his body
What?
and shared it, and
What?
then the people found out that it wasn't his body, it was just his shed off skin,
What?
and they couldn't get power from it. It's weird.
Yeah, and that all the monsters in this world actually come from the moon?
Well, that's more like a reference to earlier Final Fantasy games too, and
Oh, is it?
yeah, and we'll talk more about that because when they start talking about the moon more, there's little riffs that are from Final Fantasy IV in the music,
cool.
and I think that's really great. Like I hadn't really noticed it before last time, but a lot of the Esther music actually has little riffs from Final Fantasy IV's soundtrack, so I like it, but I do think that the problem with generational magic wealth is that it isolates the magical resources to very small amounts of the population, and basically magic distribution is completely messed up. So really, we should be trying to avoid this magical inheritance of magical power with magic taxes that help redistribute the magic over the entire population, instead of look what happens when you put all that magic into the hands of just a few sorceresses instead of everyone having a little bit of sorceress power.
That's true.
It ends up with violence. So that's just me. Anyway, so the Ultimecia has been, I guess it's kind of like slayers in a way. Like little girls are born and some of them have like a tendency towards being a sorceress.
That's how I understand it. And then, so basically the way I understand it is there are, I don't know, how many sorceresses are there? 2, 3?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's just say there are 2. And whenever like a sorceress is kind of done being a sorceress, her power just leaves her and then goes to somebody else who is I guess like a worthy vessel of that
Right.
magic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit like how the sirens work in Borderlands as well.
Or like the avatars in Carnival.
Oh. So, she's been possessed by Ultimecia, and Ultimecia wants to kidnap and possess L1, because then she will combine her angry magic power with L1's time compression power, and she'll be able to, with that, then become all sorceresses at the same time.
Yeah, the way that I understood it was that Ultimecia can only possess other sorceresses.
Right.
And by taking advantage of L1's power, she's able to then like ramp up her consciousness distribution to like all points in time.
Yeah, because L1 has this innate magical time power, which is how she's helping you get Laguna through tough situations.
Yes, and so and so her ultimate goal is to bring all of these linear points in time together into one thing, so that she can be all sorceresses at once at the same time and have all the magic ever.
Like Highlander.
Like Highlander.
So does that mean that L1 is a sorceress?
No,
But she could be.
I don't think so.
No, but I think she has the potentiality to be a sorceress.
Oh, interesting. I wish the game was more explicit about that, but I guess that makes sense.
That's what I interpreted. And I get the feeling, and so does another lady in our cast. But that's just my hunch.
Is it Quistis?
No.
Is it Selfie?
No.
I give up.
It's Zoo, obviously. the big bad of the game. She's been there the whole time. You haven't suspected her. She just seems nice. She doesn't even have a character portrait. So you assume she can't be that big of a deal. But there you go. So Jim got a great line from Quistis here where she exclaimed, "I can't even begin to imagine how horrible compressed time would be."
It made me laugh.
What?
Probably would
Okay.
be a bit messed up, sure. Adia also explains that the bad sorceress back from the sorceress schools may not actually be dead because everyone
Yeah,
assumed
this is Adele.
Yeah.
That we talked about earlier.
everyone assumed that Adia got her powers from her when Adele died, but that can't be the case because Adia got her powers when she was 5, so Adele was still alive
So-
during that time.
Yeah, so that's Adia's theory about Adele is that she's like, well, everyone just assumes that, Adele passed her powers on to me, but she's like, I was a kid when I got them and Adele was still alive. So her working theory is that Adele must be alive somewhere and that she was an awful sorceress who was full of hate and that her being possessed by Ultimecia would be catastrophic.
Right, because that plus because Adele's that's where they're like Adele's anger and Ultimecia's drive and time magic would be a deadly world destroying amalgamation. Through a lot of this exposition, Squall's mind drifts off and he's like, maybe I am falling in love with Renoa.
Yeah, as she's explaining like time compression
Yeah.
and how reality's going to end, Squall's like, maybe I really do dig on Renoa's vibes.
I think this is the most realistic depiction of being a teenager in VDA.
Yeah,
ever.
you're right. It's silly, but man, it's very teenager appropriate.
Yes, where like you're in the middle of class and they're talking to you about like this is super important. It's going to be on the test, so you got to listen up. And you're like,
Hmm.
hmm.
Now that she's in a coma, I feel
Mhm.
like I'm really attracted to Renoa. Maybe he's just a somophiliac.
Oh,
What's that?
What now?
You know, a somophiliac.
Are you
What's that?
saying when someone's asleep, sometimes somebody likes to get sexual with them?
Hi, Sam Elliott. Yeah, somophilia is when someone is asleep and you are attracted to the idea, I guess, of engaging in some kind of intercourse or sexual activity with someone who is asleep or otherwise unconscious.
Now, this does get into
Boy.
a questionable area of what I like to call consent. And you know Sam Elliott does love consent. So I think the only way this works is before a express agreement before the sleeping happens that the contact is approved and consented and wanted.
Yeah. I think that that's definitely true. Another way to engage in that kind of activity is you can just play a pretend game and pretend to be asleep while your partner manipulates your body.
You know, I'm glad that we had this talk, Vanessa. I learned a lot from you, and I think it's great that you have this knowledge too.
What? No, I don't. I was just reading it from the notes.
I'm going off to the sunset. Goodbye.
I'm an
Bye.
innocent little flower.
Bye, Sam Elliott.
Goodbye, Sam Elliott.
It was nice to see you.
So it's decided that they will go track down the White Seed ship where L1 probably is because we let her get picked up by then.
The White Seed ship.
Yep.
So we're searching for the cum ship.
Yep. The SS Cum Guzzle is out there somewhere, and we
Oh, why does it have to be guzzle?
and we
Edit that out.
go. First of all, you're editing it, so you can do whatever you like. So we go back to the garden, and you go check in on Renoa, and you're just real sad about her again, and like realizing that Which is, as much as we make fun of this, sometimes when you lose, worried about losing someone, you realize like, hey, there's a lot of stuff I could have said or expressed, but did not have the confidence to do so, and regret that. That's a thing that happens in life. So I understand this. I totally understand this impulse. So, he does get another Laguna dream. And once again, proving Laguna's having a much more interesting and exciting game than we are. Like, Laguna's going through all the, like, kind of classical Final Fantasy, like, 4 and 6 weird side quests and stuff that we like, or Final Fantasy 7. Like, he has suddenly, I guess, become an actor. However, this does seem to be Bad Dragon, the XXX porn parody, because the entire film setup is a director with a video camera, an actress, and some kind of public park where maybe they don't actually have permission to film, but they're pretty sure they're not going to get caught. So
yeah, and Laguna expresses that he is not really an actor, but somehow he got this gig. Mm-hmm. So again, like a sort of low bar for engaging in whatever it is he's about to do.
What? Like that hasn't happened before in real life? Like people didn't just see Vivian Lee and cast her immediately?
Laguna is no Vivian Lee, sir.
So he and the gang, and depending on whether you've done the Shumi tribe quest or not, Ward will or will not show up, which I don't understand why that would change Ward showing up. And I'm glad that Ward can show up, but in my game he did not, because I did the Shumi tribe quest. So depending on that, he might be there, or it's just Laguna and Kyros in this movie. He's supposed to be fighting a fake dragon, and Kyros is going to... there was originally going to be someone else who was going to be the dragon, but the guy took the day off. So Kyros is like pressured into performing, and Kyros is like, oh, but we're friends. Isn't this going to be weird? And the director's like, no, come on, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Like, just focus on her, and you barely even have to touch each other.
Only at the end.
Yeah.
So in the movie, he's supposed to be fighting a big fake dragon, and then the big fake dragon shows up, and Laguna's like, wow, this is some really good special effects. Like, look at this guy. And you do a bullshit mini game, which is just like the guard fight mini game. Except I found this one was a lot easier than the guard fighting mini game, at least. I just mashed on triangle. And at some point, Laguna's like, wow, Kyros is really going hard here. Like this, he's really committing to the bit. And I guess, was it Kyros shows up at some point?
No, it just attacks him, and he's like, wait a minute, that's a dragon.
Yeah.
I do like how the director's like, that costume looks a lot better than I thought it would, but okay.
So you then have to fight the dragon. The game seems to imply that there's many dragons around that you can't escape. Because he's like, oh, they're just everywhere. So you do have to... Kyros eventually shows up in his like really shitty dragon costume, which is great. And but then finds out that there is real dragons and you gotta fight it. So I was like really ready for this dragon fight. I was like, okay, I am here. I'm gonna draw all the magic from this dragon, see if this dragon has like a GF attached to it. And then Odin came in, and Odin's like, hey, you're fighting a dragon. I'm like, wait, Odin, I just want to... And then Odin's like, no problem. And his little horse does a little stamp, and then steam comes out of the horse's nose, and then Odin ran forward and cut the dragon in half. Fight over. Have any of you got Odin yet?
No.
Yes.
Where did you get him?
It's actually, I think it's pretty close to Adia's house, isn't it? Look on the map, like Google it. It's in the Odin Tower. Because you can get 2 girlfriends from there. You can, if you kill 20 Tonberries, you can get the Tonberry King summon, which is great. And then after that, you can go get the Odin summon.
Do I need these summons?
Well, the Odin one's interesting because it gives you a 1 in 6 chance of, at the start of the fight, Odin coming in and killing the boss, and it works, or on killing whatever, and it works on bosses. So, like, the boss fight
1 in 6 is, like, really low. He shows up a lot.
He does show up a lot. It's crazy. Like, you're leveling and he just chops everything in half. It's pretty fun. And it's, I think, one of the better looking... Oh, yeah, you know what? There's something, instead of a bullshit minigame corner, I've got something else to do. Remind me about that later. I have a special corner for today. But anyway, yeah, Odin is a great summon, even if it's random. I also got one called Penix, which if you get wiped, gives you a 1 in 6 chance of being brought back to life with full health.
He said wiped.
Yeah, I did.
Wiped.
So,
White seed chip. This stupid fucking game.
after the fight, Laguna notices a big black monolith in the distance and is like, that's weird. As the dream is ending, L1 talks to Squall and says she's trying to change the past so that Laguna doesn't go looking for her, because while he's gone, Rain dies, and Laguna never got to see the baby she had.
What? She had a what now? Excuse me?
A baby.
Whoa.
Charlie, what about the baby, Charlie?
Who is the father of this baby?
Well, it's Laguna.
Are you sure?
How do I know?
Is the baby anyone we know?
Probably not. It's probably
Yeah,
just some
probably
other character. It's probably
Yeah.
Zoo.
I don't even know why they mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's probably Zone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's probably Zoo. Speaking of, you get to the splurty white seed ship.
Laguna is Squall's father, isn't he?
What?
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 No
What?
way.
No.
No.
Just because Julia is maybe Renoa's mom doesn't mean that Laguna is Squall's father.
Yeah. I mean, Laguna's like the same age as Squall, right? No, wait. It is a flashback. We figured that out. But no.
No, that's crazy, Nat. What are you talking about? Anyway, so
Matt's like, okay.
I'm not paying that much attention to this game, guys. I'm really blowing through it.
so you got to find the ship. I remember playing without a walkthrough, and it took me about, I would say, 3 hours to find this stupid piece of garbage ship. This was back like 15 years ago or 20 years ago.
Why
or
is the camera angle on the ship so fucking close?
It's real bad.
The fucking garden takes up 2/3 of the screen. How are you supposed to find anything?
I don't know. What? There's no option, because like Final Fantasy VII had the option of like zooming out to a classic camera angle, like a zoomed out map view, and this one does not have that. So it's very hard to navigate. And this ship is like it's just like tucked in between these two islands in like a bay.
Yeah.
But Adia does have some idea where the ship is. So you go back and see Adia, and she's like, yeah.
All right, hang on. She definitely is like, they move every day because they're such good seeds. They do always hang out in this one spot, though, and I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
It's really dumb.
And you go find it. It is very difficult to find, but eventually you're like, oh, there's that goopy seed ship. And you go there. And this is great. I don't know if you enjoyed being on this white seed ship. L1 isn't there, but the captain's like, hey, you ask for their help with finding L1, and he's like, request denied. You guys could be anyone. You say that you're sent here by the Sorceress, but how do we know that's true? Get out of here. But they don't actually kick you off the ship, so you can still talk to
just,
people.
walk away.
Yeah.
Enjoy our boat.
Please leave. Okay, here's the deck, and here's let me show you around. Please get out
You
of here.
can show yourselves out.
Because they were attacked by Galbadia, and were forced into retreating, and that's why they're hiding, because they were trying to keep L1 safe and away from the Sorceress. But you also find, hey, Zone and Watts is here. And Watts is like super happy to see you. And Zone was like, hey, is that my pornography you have there? And you're like, yeah, it is, buddy. Can I have that back? And you're like, sure. And then he gives you some good cards and stuff. It's great. And just make sure you don't charge him money, because you don't get the cards unless you give it to him for free. So, Zone gets his porn mag back, but then he finds out that Rinoa got injured and is in a coma, and he's very upset and wigs out at you. He's like, asked you for one thing. The one thing was to keep precious Rinoa safe, and you didn't do it. And what is wrong with you? I trusted you. We all trusted you. He has a real freak out moment. It's great. How dare you?
I mean, it's justified.
Yep, for sure. And you give the signed letter that Sorceress gave you to the captain guy, and he's like, okay, well, now since you have this letter, I'll tell you that we actually gave her to Esther, which seems like a bad idea, but these Esther ships came, they fought off the Galbadians, and that's how we managed to get L1 safely off the ship. We weren't going to do it, but she actually volunteered and then like jumped onto their ship as it drove away. So
Yeah.
Sure, you go, L1. And they say, so she's somewhere in Esther. Time to go to Esther.
But we can't go to Esther
Why not?
because Esther is impossible to reach. It has high cliffs on every side, and there's no way we can fly there in our airship.
You're right. And everyone's like, hey, Squall, we're all going to do this together. And he's like, well, we need to save Rinoa. And they're like, no, Squall, we need to get L1 first. Rinoa comes later. And he's like, screw you guys. I'm going to walk literally halfway around the world carrying Rinoa. So you're just going to have to sit there and do it. He does this by going to Fisherman's Horizon, or FH. And he does decide to carry her all the way. Like, if you look at that bridge, it is literally like walking across the Atlantic carrying someone.
Yeah, and he just
Yeah.
has her on his back, and he's like, here I go, all by
I like
myself.
how he's like, in the first screen, he's like, all right, I'm going to go. And then you get to the second screen, and his first thought bubble that pops up is, this is longer than I thought.
I thought the
But I
idea
like-
would like he'd get a train or something to get across.
I like when he stops to reflect, he just like slumps her over against the side of a bridge, and he's like, man, I really want to think about Squall stuff.
Yeah. And then he's like, whoa, I wonder what everyone else is thinking about. I wonder if they're like mad I left, or they probably don't care. I don't know.
And then he like puts a pair of sunglasses on Rinoa, and it's like, what do you think, Rinoa? And then he like starts moving her jaw with his hand. He's like,
oh, Squall, I think they do care about you.
oh, no, they don't, Rinoa. Yes, they do. And you need to stop being so hard on yourself. He's like, shut up. Why do we always argue like this? It's a real Weekend at Bernie's moment. So
Got
then,
real dark real fast.
so then, he does. Let's see. On the way, he stops to reflect on how he really does care about what other people think, in spite of. Yeah. So on the way back, he stops. This is when he slumps her on the corner by a lamppost. He's like, I guess I do care what people think about me, and I really do dig Rinoa, which we've already established. And then he
He's carrying
picks
her
her up.
halfway around the world, so
Yeah.
you better.
He picks her up and then gets to the train station, and literally the entire party's there and took I guess they probably took the ship.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I guess I probably could just asked for this. Although I guess they did tell him no, right?
He's the commander.
Yeah, but they're like, you got to put the seeds needs in front of your own.
It's pretty
I don't
funny that in the last chunker, he was more than happy to leave her to die.
Yeah.
And in this chunker, now that she's like in a coma, he's like, I'll do anything for you.
Well, I don't think that's the most unrealistic twist. You know, he's regretting his choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone is there, including Adia, who you can get into your party. Although I do not recommend doing this because you might get some good magic and you don't want to have it on Adia. Like you can the next boss has flare, so you should probably take one of your main people on there to get all these flares.
Why don't you want Adia to have it?
Because she won't be around. She's not a permanent party member. She's just.
Have we talked about how she's in the party, though?
You can choose her, and she does have a limit break that I never got to see because all my fights got ended by Odin.
Have we talked about how she's an additional member to the party this late in the game, John?
Well, let's talk about it now. Why are you mad at me?
Remember when John said that we definitely had all of the party members and there weren't going to be any more?
Are you telling me to go to my den?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, in this case, here I am in my den. She's like a guest. It's like saying Bannon from Final Fantasy VI is a permanent party member. Like, she's there for a little bit.
I need to get rid of her and get her magic off, is what you're saying.
You can't. I tried doing that, and you cannot take her magic off of her.
What?
You must be able to if she's still in your party.
I gave her some magic. I gave her some junky magic to hold.
Can you? Oh, okay. Maybe you can. All right. I'm going back to my den again. Once again, I'm wrong, claiming. Look, I tried to take some flares off of her, and I couldn't. So I don't know. I don't know.
That would
where
really
they
suck if it lets you put magic on her and then not take it back off, because I got a lot of magic on her.
Well, I guess we'll find out. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, she is, for a little bit, in your party. Has anyone seen her limit break? Because I have not.
Yeah, it's just an ice spell. It's nothing.
Oh, that's not cool.
Nothing special. I'd like to see you cast an ice spell.
Does she at least look like she doesn't? You'd think that she'd have a bit more of a practical adventuring gear for when she's in your party, but no, she has that complete hemispherical headdress thing behind her the whole time.
Final Fantasy
her
loves
long
putting the villain in the
floor-length
in the party, right?
Mm-hmm. But she isn't. I don't think she's the villain, Matt.
Well, I don't know. I guess Ultimacia will probably show up at some point as some sort of god that we have to kill.
And what about Cypher?
Cypher's garbage.
Yeah, that's true. I like that he's like terrible Sephiroth.
Yeah,
Sephiroth wasn't good.
You couldn't even make seed, and every time he shows up, you beat the shit out of him. He's like, I'm fucking super tough. And you're like, you're not even a seed, dude.
Yeah.
You're just some dork.
Yep. With bad hair.
Bad hair.
Yeah.
The shitty looking sword.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Adia is joining you because she wants to find Dr. Odin, who is this Esther scientist who she thinks might be able to basically stop her from being a sorceress anymore, remove her sorceress powers, and make her a normal human. And she's like,
I'd
rather
know how to do
that.
that, right? We just have to kill her.
Well, but she wants to live.
No, she wants to live.
Why didn't she do this a long time ago?
I don't know.
Because why would she? Why would you give up your power for no reason? Now she knows that she's open to possession.
But she knew that this was going to happen because she created seed.
Well, she's older and wiser now. She's like, she thought, oh no, I'm strong. I can repel Ultimacia. It won't be an issue. And then she's like, nope.
Yeah, it's like how all Jedi think that they won't fall to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So, and Squall is going there because he heard Dr. Odin is it? Do you think it's Odin or Odine?
Odin.
Okay, Dr. Odin.
Odini.
Odini. Dr. Odini, which is not what the Jawas say when they're surprised. Odini. Dr. Odini is going to help Rinoa as well. I don't know why he thinks that, but he's very excited about this idea. So you climb some mountains and you fight undead boss. I got this ability I can't remember who it's from, but it's called like it's like Replenish or something, and it's just like it just completely heals anyone, and it does 999 damage to this undead boss, so it's pretty good. But also I got some cool bullets for Irvine, so he was doing like 5,000 damage per hit. It was great, like in his limit break in this boss fight. So another great thing. And you can draw Flare, which is one of the most powerful magics in the game, and therefore will boost your stats crazy good. So I recommend drawing 99 flares from this boss fight. I did with 3 characters. But with times 3, it takes like 2 minutes, so it's not
What
like
do you need to do any of this for?
I
do
fun.
9,999 damage.
Fun,
There's
Matthew.
no reason for any of this.
I like destroying this game.
One hit every boss.
So you get to the city, and well, okay, no, you don't get to the city. You get to this cliff face, but you'll notice a little bit of a glitch on this cliff face, and you're like, wait, what's up? And Squall's like, I think there's something here, and he like gropes around the sky in front of him, and he finds a button that opens up a hatch. It's a real Truman Show. You get this like beautiful sky, and there's a door in it, and they climb up an invisible ladder to get to this hatch into what turns out to be, as they get onto this elevator, a beautiful Wakanda hidden by refracting lights and mirrors.
This is a very, while Squall is climbing this ladder and, going through these tunnels, he's like, I don't give a shit what happens next. It's really weird.
Yeah, he does. It's a very strange. It's like, I'm just going for it. Whatever. I have Renoa on my back.
I'm fucking
Here I
careful, I'm in the
go.
right place. Okay. It's weird.
So what do you think of the beautiful city of Wakanda, Esther?
It's cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
There's a lot of, cut scenes that you can run around in here.
Yeah, it's a very pretty 1990s looking city. But right as you get there, and you're like, oh boy, I've got to explore the city. We got here. We're going to find the doctor. The plot's going to move. Oh, I'm getting sleepy. And everyone suddenly gets a real sleepy time, and cut to the other better game that Laguna is in. And this time, Laguna, Kyros, and Ward have been captured, and they're working in some kind of underground laboratory.
Squall is legit all right, I hope we don't get attacked here. Oh, shit. And just falls over. It's pretty fucking crazy.
And there's some very mean
Do we
guards
mention that
again.
the last time this happened, we talked to Eleni, and she was like, oh, shit, I'm asleep.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'll keep trying to talk to you about this. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
was away.
She's telling you that I don't know if we mentioned she's asleep, but she's trying to change the past, and she's not sure if she can, and that's what
Yeah, she tells you a little bit about the rules too. She's like, I can only do this with people I've met. I call it connecting and disconnecting. Right?
Yeah, and she can't control it when she's sleeping.
Oh, okay. So that's why it's happening. That's
That's the whole reason Squall decides he's got to go find her. He's like, I can go back in time maybe and save Renoa.
Right. Yes, that's true too. He does want to do that. So that's why he's finding L1. But meanwhile, let's take a little break. I don't know why Laguna, Kyros, and Ward are in prison again, but they seem to end up in there a lot in their zany
It doesn't
adventures.
really seem to be a prison. It seems like they are slaves.
Okay. And
In a
there's another Moomba.
Or a research lab.
A Moomba slave there too, and the guards are mean, and they take Kyros and Ward off to do some other guard work elsewhere. So it's just you and a guy in a green shirt and a Moomba, and you're trying to help the Moomba with his job. And at one point, he's like, Moomba's asking him for a wrench, and I guess it's like Chewbacca. Laguna can understand the Moombas and what they want.
But he can understand their gurgurs.
Yeah.
That's what they say. They say gurgur.
Gurgur.
Gurgur. Gurgur.
And so he's like, "Oh, you want a wrench?" And then he throws the wrench at the Moomba, and the Moomba does fall to his death. And Laguna's like,
The Moomba
"Oh
does
god,
not fall to his
well,
death.
hold on."
He saves him.
Okay, it falls to seemingly his death, and Laguna's like, "Oh God, what did I do? Oh God, oh God, no one saw anything, right? No witnesses. Oh, I feel terrible." but then the Moomba shows back up. The Moomba is fine, and the guy in the green shirt's like, "Oh yeah, they got some safety wires on them, so don't worry about it."
Oh, this is not like what happened to me.
Oh,
What?
I threw the thing to the Moomba, and the Moomba was like hanging off the thing, and I ran over there immediately and helped it back up.
Yeah, me too.
Oh.
John, did you not go to help the Moomba?
I had the same thing. It didn't let me do any of this.
Yeah, it didn't let me do it.
It didn't let me take control. It just
Yeah.
fucking happened.
Yeah, he just fell.
I don't remember.
Weird.
He didn't fall on mine. He was hanging from the railing, and Laguna went
Yeah.
and helped him up.
I was like,
Jim,
oh,
you
gosh,
fell
here.
asleep while you were playing this game.
I fell asleep after the boss battle getting to Esthar.
Well, I don't know if I tried it twice, and I don't think I got. I'm like Matt. I don't think there was an option for me to go help him. He just like fell. So I don't know. Maybe we did something slightly different, or
Yeah, maybe
You
this
guys
is
are
one
doing
of
the
those.
evil playthrough.
Well, it seems like with Ward showing up or not, they're like weird things that aren't apparent that you can do that affect what happened in the game.
Yeah.
What happens in the game. So maybe it's one of those.
Oh yeah, I don't know. But so in mine, Laguna feels very terrible about killing the Moomba, but the Moomba's fine. There is a safety rope. He makes his way back up and is still friends with Laguna, so everyone's happy. Then you sneak onto an elevator after beating up some guards, and you do start sneaking around Dr. Odin to hear him talk about L1 and how he's studying the Lunatic Pandora, which does sound like a Disc 3 area. Wasn't there a Lunatic Pandora in...
It was something Pandora in 9.
Yeah.
That crazy... I remember that
I thought
temple.
that was Pandemonium.
Yes, you're
Pandemonium.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And there's L1. He talks about dropping a Weapons Monthly magazine that you got to find. So
It's funny how I'm just straight up gonna sidebar. It's funny how in retrospect Final Fantasy IX is the best one of these games.
Yeah, it is. It's really strange.
Looking
since
back.
we played it. Yeah, I appreciate that game so much. It's just so fun compared to a lot of the other games we've played.
Yeah. I mean, even the other Final Fantasy games. I did
Yeah.
love 10 though, actually. Ooh, I love 10.
10 and 9, I think, are the favorites of mine of the Final Fantasies that we've
I
played.
always thought mine was 7, but really 7 was kind of a drag.
7 is the one I have the most nostalgia for, but I think I like playing 9 and 10 the most.
Okay.
8 is garbage. This game sucks.
It's very close to being a great one. I don't know what it is about this game. I just can't get hooked.
It's
We'll
broken
talk
and
about it
crappy.
more. We got 2 more episodes, and then we'll
Yeah,
wrap
all right.
this up. I think there's some
Okay.
good... Yeah, because I could go on about the things I think it does really well and things I don't think it does poorly. Because I think it does some really great stuff, but I also think it is weird and bad in some other ways. So we get into... basically carjack Dr. Odin and go with him to this other facility where they're holding L1, and you beat up some guards. You see L1 looking sad on a monitor, and then unlock a door, and you save her.
Yeah. Good job, Laguna.
Hooray!
Yeah. So meanwhile, back to the president's, back to Squall, going to the president's place. You go to find Dr. Odin, and he's there. He's got a big clown collar, we should say. Dr. Odin's a weird looking dude.
Yeah.
What's the deal with his like fanned out collar deal?
You know, that's never on good guys. It's usually on your like, what's the name of the guy from 6 who had the collar?
Kefka.
Yeah, it's a real Kefka collar.
He's just an eccentric. I'm sure it's fine.
I don't know. He did seem to be doing some weird experiments.
Yeah, I did. I like him though. I like how when you confront him and you're like, "Do you know Eleni?" and he's like, or Alone, and he's like, "No." And then he pauses a moment and goes, "Okay, I lied, I do," and he runs away.
He seems like a proto Zorn and Thorn from Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, they also had frilly collars.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he
man.
also does the accent that they do, where it's not the, it's Z.
Oh, this I sort of think of him talking like the German doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I imagine him talking. You do find Dr. Odini, and he does say he will help Idia, but he also wants to study Renoa, but he can do that while you're going to go to the Lunar Gate.
One thing I was gonna ask was the Odin brand the brand of the magic charm that Renoa was gonna put on
Yes,
Adea
that's right.
when she was gonna sneak in there? I think because like they said, oh, you know it's quality if it's X brand. It's Odin brand.
I
Isn't
think
it?
you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
That's some world building right there.
Yeah.
So he says he's going to help Adia. He wants to study and help Renoa, and he's going to take the chance because they are going to try and catch up with L1 over at the Lunar Gate. So that he asks that they leave Renoa here under his care and observation. So Jim's assuming that L1 is in outer space because she's at the Lunar Gate. I don't know about that. I did go to, there's a place called Tier Point that you can go to on, it's kind of on the way. Well, it's not really on the way. You go a little past Lunar Gate on the world map. But before that, did you do any exploration of Esther?
I went to the mall. The store was interesting.
Too went to the mall. If you go, there's a store in the bottom right corner. If you go there between 50 and 100 times, you get an item that allows you to equip 4 abilities at once. It's called the Rosetta Stone. I recommend you get that.
Ooh, cool.
And you can get that anytime. Yeah.
I only need one ability, and it's my limit break that I have loaded up every time I attack. So,
Well,
No, abilities are something else. Aren't abilities like the plus 60
yeah,
strength,
it's like plus
whatever?
80 80%
Like
hit
the stat
points.
bonuses, yeah.
Yeah.
And that stuff stacks. I have one character that's at like plus 110 now or something.
I've hit 999 with Squall, and I got an achievement for that. So that was great. And there's a lot of other stuff you get, like auto potion, auto haste, auto reflect, auto what's the anti-magic one? Shell. Auto shell. So it's a great ability, and you get it for free. You just have to go to the bottom right store about 100 times in that menu. You just click on it, keep clicking on it over and over and over until you get it. And you can also get some new Pet Pals magazines from the dog store or from the pet store there, which is great. Because
I went through
Pet
and
Pals.
used all my weapons monthlies and went to the junk shop, and I don't have enough parts to build a single thing. It's really fucking stupid. I mean, I guess I don't ever get into random battles, so.
Yeah, because you get those by defeating enemies, stealing from enemies, or turning enemies into cards, and then turning the cards into the items you need. Because there's a card mod ability that you can use. So that's how you get. I'm still missing a couple. I need star fragments, which you get from Iron Giants, which are coming up in the next chunker. You'll get to fight some Iron Giants, but at Tier Point.
Superman.
At the next
kill the Iron Giant? What a monster.
Sad.
In the next before the next chunker, I did go to Tier Point, and there's something called a Solomon Ring, and if you have 6 remedy pluses, 6 steel bars, and 6 Malboro tentacles,
Excuse me?
Okay, you got these are items you can steal from monsters.
I know what they are.
Yeah.
I'm just upset, like prematurely perhaps, about the complicated thing you're about to describe.
If you have 6 of these, the remedy plus, you have to, there's I think Alexander gives you an ability to turn items into plus versions. So you can turn remedies into remedy pluses, which I guess like heal you and cure you at the same time. So if you use 6 of those, 6 steel bars and 6 Malboro tentacles, you get the summon Doom Train.
Doom Train. Doom Train's a cool summon.
Well, speaking of cool summons, instead of a John's minigame corner, how about a John ranks each summon corner?
Let's do it.
Let's do
John's
it.
bullshit summoning corner.
I just got to get my notes.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited.
John's pulling out a whiteboard.
Listen, guys, there's a lot of details here. And
Yeah, there's post-it notes on it. There's yarn connecting these different notes.
it's wonderful.
What's on that board? I see Bad Dragon. I see Matthew's credit card. John!
I see hashtag Snyder Cut.
Now, are you ranking them by how delicious they seem? Like how much you would like to eat them? Or what's the...
That's a great idea. As John discusses these summons, I will talk about whether or not I would like to eat them.
And Jim can talk about whether or not he wants to fuck them.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds great.
Obviously, I'll talk about whether or not I feel like I could fall in love with them.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Alexander, you big beefy building.
okay, so here are all the girlfriends from order of worst to best, in my opinion. Although, Vanessa has her own thing and Jim has his own thing. So, last place for me, Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah, it's just like some lightning. It's not that exciting. It's fine. Vanessa, would you eat
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah, Quetzalcoatl looks sort of like a bird or a pterodactyl, and I feel like the lightning would bring like a really charred flavor to Quetzalcoatl. I think it could be quite interesting to eat.
I bet
Do you
it's
think
spicy.
that Quetzalcoatl would taste like Terry from Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Never
Wait,
have...
who?
Terry's the pterodactyl. Terry the pterodactyl.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you said Terry or Cherry. Like, why would you eat Cherry?
Yeah, I don't. Well, maybe sort of a base flavor, but again, you can't underestimate what that lightning does to some meat.
That's true. Next up, Siren.
You didn't ask Jim if he wanted to fuck
Oh,
it.
sorry. Jim, do you want to have sex with Quetzalcoatl?
That's not what we're
Yes,
asking him.
I
Excuse
do.
me. We're asking him if he
Quetzalcoatl
wants
looks-
to fuck it. Jim, do you
do,
want to fuck
yes.
it?
I do.
Okay.
Quetzalcoatl, it looks soft.
Yeah.
And
Electro stim?
I want to squeeze him. So, yes.
Yeah. Next up is Siren. A
Wait.
beautiful.
You didn't ask
Matt.
me if I could fall in love with it.
God, there's like 20 of these. Matt, could you fall in love with Quetzalcoatl?
No, it seems to be some sort of animal, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
Next up, Siren, a beautiful lady on a beach. She plays a harp. It's pretty, like it's what the graphics are good for a 90s PS1 game, but not that great.
Siren
Jim,
is always super hot.
would you fuck Siren?
Definitely fuck a siren, yeah.
Okay, Vanessa, would you eat a siren?
Nope.
Nat, would you fall in love with a siren?
I mean, I already am. So,
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of their whole deal, really.
yeah, kind of, what am I supposed to do? Just a guy. Just a man.
Men
Next-
can't resist that siren call.
The Ifrit one, it's just like a big flamey. He fly across the screen.
He looks good.
He's a big muscle thing.
He almost
but,
always looks good.
It's just not a very exciting. It's a quick summon, but it's not a very exciting summon. Just like bleh. Vanessa, would you eat Ifrit?
No, a freet always seems to me to be some sort of canine kind of thing, and I don't want to eat a dog.
I was
I feel
thinking
like
more.
Vanessa and I flipped which ones we should be doing.
I think it's more of a minotaur. A minotaur.
Gosh.
Well, I'd certainly eat a
Minotaur.
cow.
Minotaur.
I mean,
It's just beef.
it's just no, but it has like a canine face, and
Okay.
it has like claws.
I
don't
agree. It's like
wanna
a
eat
werewolf.
this.
He looks like a werewolf with horns.
Yeah,
And goat
Okay.
I
legs.
don't want to eat it.
He's got goat legs, though, so that's some goat haunch for you.
Maybe
Jim,
I'd eat the haunch.
would you fuck Ifrit?
Yes. I mean, unless there's a GF I'm not thinking of, I would get down with all these.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes that easier. Next up, Carbuncle. It's a little
No,
guy.
John, I would
Oh,
not fall in
Carbuncle's a
love with a
child.
freak.
Oh, would you fall in love with a freak? Why not?
Those horns are scary.
Okay. The next one is Carbuncle. It was this cute little guy. He comes up out of the hole and he shines because he got a gem in his little squishy head. It's adorable and casts, I think, Reflect on everybody. So yeah, 2.5 stars. It's pretty good. It's not the most exciting one you'll see in this game. Jim, would you fuck Carbuncle?
Carbuncle is one of the ones I would have to say no. Carbuncle's a child.
Well, I'll just jump in and say, I mean, fall in love, no. But would I love and protect and cherish Carbuncle? Of course I
A
would.
non-romantic one.
Yes, of course.
Vanessa, would you eat Carbuncle?
I would not eat the gem embedded in its forehead. However, I do like looking at Carbuncle. I feel like Carbuncle is something that would probably not be eaten widely in North America, but I don't want to like close my mind entirely to other cultures, so I'd try Carbuncle.
I just don't think I'd like that jelly consistency.
You think it's jelly?
Yeah.
Like a gummy candy?
Yeah, I think it's like a jellyfish.
No, it's like a green rat.
Oh, okay. It looks
Yeah.
squishy and goopy to me.
Oh. Well, if it's gummy candy, then I'll eat it for sure.
Next up is Shiva. It's not the best Shiva. I'd say Final Fantasy X has the perfect Shiva summon. This one's fine. It's very short though. It's just her like throwing some ice at people. Would you fuck Shiva, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. Vanessa, would you eat Shiva?
No, this is essentially a human woman, and I would not.
Matt, would you fall in love with Shiva?
I am in love with Shiva. I know I already used that joke, but it's still true.
Next is Leviathan, which is a big coiled serpent. It does. At first, I'm like, what's it doing? Because it like stacks up some rocks into like a big stack. I'm like, oh, this isn't a water attack. But then he starts making water flow down this stack of rocks and then hit the enemy. It's a very elaborate animation. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, 3 stars. I haven't been giving stars to everything. They're on the list, but just no, this is a 3-star summon. Jim, would you fuck Leviathan?
Yes.
Okay. Matt, would you fall in love with Leviathan?
No, Leviathan's a fish.
Okay. Vanessa, would you eat Leviathan?
I'm hesitant to eat Leviathan because of its rock stacking ability. I feel like that indicates a certain level of intelligence that I'm just not comfortable consuming.
Well, people eat octopuses all the time, and they do stuff like that.
They do, and I feel uncomfortable about it, and I keep thinking I should probably stop because they're like as smart as a cat, and I don't want to eat a cat.
Well, so are pigs. That's a Pandora's
I know,
box.
I know, that's
Pigs can
another
play
one.
video games. I mean,
Yeah.
I know. Look, it's complicated, and I acknowledge that in 200 years, humans are going to be like, can you believe that these barbaric people used to eat these animals? And I know that. Like, I know that, but they're so good. And what do I have in this world if not delicious meat?
It's true.
Cheese.
All right. Next up, Brothers. This is a summon where 2 beefy boys, one very small, one very tall, play Jankin, and then the loser throws the other one. So there's like 2 variants of this one, I believe. So I think this is a great summon. I like it a lot. Not the best, but definitely one of the better ones. Vanessa, would you eat these beefy boys?
I'd eat the large one.
Okay, that's fair. Jim, would you have sex with these beefy boys?
yeah.
Matt, would you fall in love with these beefy brothers?
No, falling in love with brothers is never a good idea.
That's true. All right, next, Pandemonium. This is a weird looking summon. It's like a weird alien that's got like a vacuum cleaner bagpipe thing attached to it, and it sucks up the enemy via its vacuum cleaner, and then like has this large inflatable bag at the back that it then like bursts, and that's what attacks the enemy. It's a very weird, but cool and very well animated. Jim, would you have sex with Pandemonium?
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, there's like
Do you
15 holes.
Yeah. Do you think that the way it would have sex is to suck you up and then burst you out of its back?
Ooh, I don't know. Is this? Are we leaning? Is this kind of like a vor thing?
It totally,
where it's gonna like
yeah,
suck me
100
up.
Yeah, that's what it does. It vores through its windpipe into this like external stomach sac.
Yeah, swallow me, daddy.
Matt, would you fall in love with Pandemonium?
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, that's true. Vanessa, would you eat Pandemonium?
Maybe it sort of has these like tentacle things around its middle, which I feel like I'd be willing to try, but I do not want to eat its shapely arms or legs, nor do I want to eat the inflatable sack.
Right. That's probably pretty tough, I would assume.
Yeah. Although, like some restaurants, they will, like the very fancy ones, they'll make like a balloon around your food of something, like some kind of sauce. They bring it to your table and then they pop it and then your food is there.
Do you live in the future?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
This is a thing. It's a
No,
thing.
it's not.
Yes,
It feels like something that
is.
probably would have been cool in the 80s.
And then do they serve you that ice cream with like gold in it after? Is that one of those restaurants?
Yeah, it's like on a tasting menu.
Ugh.
You know?
Did I tell you what I thought when someone described bubble tea to me at first, how I imagined it would be?
How did you imagine it would be?
I
Carbonated?
imagined that it would be like a ball, because they said it was a big tapioca ball. So I imagine it would be a ball that you put a straw into like the ball, like it's made out of tapioca, and you like crack it with a straw, and then you suck the tea out, which has been somehow placed in the middle of the ball, and then you eat the shell, which frankly sounds amazing. And TM, I am patenting my bubble tea.
Instead,
Anyway.
it's just tea with a bunch of crap in it.
I love it. Next, we're done with Pandemonium, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, okay, as a Firebird fanatic, I love Firebirds. It draws a NASCAR, the NASCAR line of the Phoenix on the ground, and then the ground shatters and a bird comes out and not only damages the enemies, this amazing Firebird also brings your entire team back to life with full health. But this is a random thing that only happens if your team is wiped 1 in 6 times. But an awesome summon, I gotta say. Vanessa, would you eat the Phoenix?
Yes, because I believe it would infer me with immortality.
Spicy.
This is why a lot of species have gone extinct, Vanessa.
Because people thought
I
it would give them
recognize
immortality.
that, and yet I am going to consume the Phoenix and probably also grind up its feathers and sell it as a miracle health potion.
Jim, would you fuck the Phoenix?
Yep, gonna put my Penix in the Phoenix.
Matt, would you fall in love with the Phoenix?
Every 80s and 90s straight boy is in love with Jean Grey the Phoenix, so obviously.
Okay, that makes sense. Next up, Odin. He is a knight riding a horse. He comes in like this amazing animation with like lots of Japanese characters all over the screen as he arrives to like this heavy breathing, steaming horse. And
Man, Odin's a real weeb.
yeah, no, it's pretty rad. And then he does make like, this is random it's basically 1 in every 6 fights. He just ends instantly with Odin literally slicing the enemies in half, and it includes bosses. This is one of the best summons in any Final Fantasy game. It is great. So yeah, thumbs up to this one. Jim, would you fuck Odin or the horse or both?
Not the horse. The
Okay.
horse is an animal, but Odin, yeah.
Okay. Matt, would you fall in love with Odin, the horse, or both?
Definitely the horse.
Okay. Vanessa, would you eat Odin, the horse, or both?
I would like to know if one of the horse's 6 legs can be safely removed, like surgically, without seriously harming the horse and perhaps improving its quality of life. And were that the case, I might eat the removed leg. Yes.
You should probably do 2 of the legs, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, to give it some sort of semblance of normalcy.
Yeah.
I assume that these extra legs don't provide it with a biological benefit, but that could be wrong. I am also aware that this horse is the child of Loki, god of mischief, and so I think it would be a pretty good prank on him to eat his baby's leg.
All right, next up, it is Diablos, which is, I think this one is really crazy that this was animated on a PS1. There's a dripping ball of goop coming down from the darkened sky, and this goop is surrounded by bats that converge around it that becomes a gravity ball. This is a gravity ball that contains Diablos, and then Diablos takes this ball and then throws it at the enemy, and it's all dark and goopy and crazy. And this is an amazing looking summon. Really impressive. Great summon. Jim, would you fuck Diablos?
Yes.
Okay. Matt, would you fall in love with Diablos?
No way. That's the devil, sir. What am I, a fool?
Vanessa, would you eat Diablos or the goopy gravity ball or the bats?
Thank you for asking in that way, because I certainly would eat the goopy gravity ball.
What about the bats?
No, thank you.
Yeah, they do have many diseases that can be transferred to
bats
humans.
are not good for human consumption.
There is a strong possibility that bats from a cave being mined have caused the current pandemic. So,
Yeah. I mean, I like bats. I'm not against bats. I just do not want to eat them, nor do I want them to live in my attic or belfry.
Yeah, they are. They should not be interacting with humans. I do hike around a trail at night that does have many bats, so it is a little spooky when they come real close to you, but they're adorable, and I would never eat them.
Yeah, there are bats around here, and I like to see them, especially because I know they eat the mosquito.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice to see them flying at night, but I do not want to eat one. It's a mouse. Mousy mouse.
All right, next up, Alexander. This is a beautiful summon. There are birds. It's like a John Woo movie. They're coming out from behind this mountain, and from behind this mountain emerges a big stomping castle. The castle then opens up its shoulders to reveal Gundam-style missile embankments that shoot out many of those, like in anime when it shoots out 1 billion missiles at once and they're all streaking around. Ooh, what a great summon. Jim, would you fuck this castle?
Totally.
Matt,
give me that chance.
would you fall in love with this castle?
Seems hard.
Yeah, it is. Vanessa, would you eat this castle?
I would eat in the dining hall of this castle.
Would you eat chunks of the castle in the dining hall?
No, I'd consume food prepared in the kitchen of the castle.
Okay.
That's close enough.
That's fine. Next up, there are train track crossing gates coming down. Ding, 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 ding. The enemy is caught between them. And then suddenly, individual fires light up a path. Down this path comes a train, a dark train with a skull face. It's Doom Train. Doom Train comes through. You see it making its way towards the terrified enemy, caught between these train track gates. It is killed. What a good summon. Amazing. 4.5 stars. I love Doom Train. Jim, would you fuck Doom Train?
Mm-hmm. It's got a big old wet mouth on the front of it.
Yeah, it does. Matt, would you fall in love with Doom Train?
I love trains.
People of the world,
Yay,
join
train!
hands, join the Doom Train. Vanessa, would you eat a Doom Train?
Yes, I would. Doom Train is a ghost, and I love to consume ghosts.
Finally, the number one awesomest summon so far in the game is Tonberry King. It turns into a very slow walking Tonberry that does approach the enemy slowly. And then when it hits the enemy, there's a big Batman style doink, and then the enemy is stabbed. It's wonderful. What a good summon. Tonberries are good boys. Vanessa, would you eat a Tonberry?
Yes, but only if it was prepared by another Tonberry using its chef's knife.
I bet they do. I bet they're weird like that. They're like, yes, eat him.
Yes, I have prepared my brother for your consumption, Benihana style. Watch while I chop him and fry him in front of you and then serve him. Here comes the doom train. Choo-choo, it's an onion.
Would you have sex with a Tonberry King, Jim?
Yes, the knife is a little intimidating, but yeah, I would.
Matt, would you fall in love with a Tonberry King?
I mean, he's a king.
Mm-hmm. You're like, yes, my liege.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that is the end of our girlfriend rankings. There's one more thing I do want to talk about real fast, and this is the Shumi tribe side quest, but I can save this for next time.
Why
Save it
don't
for
we do
next
that?
time.
Because we have some emails to read, too.
Okay, we'll save that for next time. I'll leave this picture in here. But for first, Jim, what do we do next on this podcast?
Well, I think it's time to talk about what we are squarely against. Well, I guess we should say what we're playing to next time.
Oh, yeah, we are finishing Disc 3.
Yay.
Finishing Disc 3.
I can tell you
John.
exactly what happens at the end of Disc
John.
3. Yeah?
John, what about Cerberus?
Oh, I forgot Cerberus. I'm sorry. Cerberus is a very good boy, and it's like an amazing ability that casts triple on everyone, and it's like a doggy that's got like mouths, and it makes everyone be able to cast 3 magics at once. It's not the best one. I'd say it goes right there between Diablos and Alexander. Would you eat a Cerberus?
No, not even one of its heads.
Okay, Jim, would you fuck a Cerberus?
No, it's an animal. Animals cannot consent.
Nat, would you fall in love with a Cerberus?
Who doesn't love a good boy?
Everyone does.
3 heads means 3 times the ears to scratch.
Aww.
And I guess, yeah, that's it. Sorry about forgetting Cerberus.
So we're playing to the end of Disc 3.
Yeah, the end of Disc 3, there is a fight against a certain recurring boss that I don't want to spoil. But something
Cypher,
interesting
isn't it?
happens.
It's gotta be Cypher.
Something interesting happens if you have Odin in this.
Oh.
So I would make sure you get Odin before you do this.
Oh, yeah, totally going to go do that. For sure. Hey, what are you guys squarely against?
Whoa, I am roundly for the plot junk in this game. I think it's very interesting, and the time compression thing, I don't know, it sounds silly and it comes out of left field, but it does make a certain amount of sense, and it does kind of give some justification to like the fighting a god at the end of a Final Fantasy thing. So I'm roundly for the story of this game. Vanessa, what are you squarely against?
I'm squarely against the shopping in this fantastical future city that we visit. It works that you walk up to any store, and then that store provides you access to like a kiosk where you can order things from any store in the area, like 6 of them. I am stuck online shopping right now, and I really would like that vicarious experience of going into a store and browsing and looking at the goods and wares. And so I don't want to shop via kiosk. I want to go to a store. I know it's only a few months away, but I cannot wait. I can't wait. Matt, what are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for having Mommy in your party. Thank you for joining the
matron.
party, Mommy. What about you, John?
I am squarely against carrying your girlfriend halfway across the world. It seemed
funny.
he could have just taken the ship if he just asked first. And everyone meets up with him at the end like, what were you doing? And he's on train tracks. He could have got the FH people to build like a little train to take him across, one of those pulley carts, with like the little handle that you go like,
Yeah.
What a dumb
He
guy.
could have put her on a hoverboard.
Yeah. I mean, that hoverboard's got to show up somewhere in this stupid plot. But T-board, sorry, T-board.
Oh, T-board, yeah.
And that's my feelings on this junker. Is anyone left?
Let's read some emails. Hey, I want to read this first one.
Okay.
It opens with, "Hey gang, obsessed with your podcast and am now a loyal patron. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and just wanted to say that Vanessa's slander against Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen was pure blasphemy. It's the best place to go to sober up with 2 meats, 2 sides, a biscuit, and 1 last margarita for under $20. That is a good deal."
How do you sober up while having a margarita?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's "Please do some day drinking. Go back and call me in the morning. My husband and I go there all the time, and it allows us both to stay 2 beefy Southern boys. Thanks for all the entertainment over the years. Signed, Sean and Marlon." They also sent us a picture of them at Cheddar's, and wow, what a good looking couple.
Yeah, I'm like intimidated.
I know.
This show, I mean, I know we say it's for smart, cool, very attractive people in the Facebook group, but these people are, like out of my league as far as listenership goes.
Oh, totally.
As a Florida boy, I can tell you that Georgia is the worst state in the country. So
Wow.
Whoa. Excuse me, they are from Atlanta, and that is different.
Yeah,
Atlanta
excuse me.
saved the entire country. I will
I'm
remind
from
you.
Kansas. Excuse me.
okay.
I live in Canada.
No, Kansas is the worst state in the United States, is what I was implying.
I have a friend from Kansas who every year on Kansas Day sends me a picture of the Kansas state woman or whatever because he thinks that she looks like me.
Kansas
So
State woman.
yeah, it's like
what?
the seal of Kansas or something. This
Oh,
lady
oh,
with
I
a bunch of
know what you're talking about.
sunflowers. So
Yeah.
put that in your Vanessa notebook if you want to know what I look like. Google Kansas State woman. I'm sure she'll pop right up. Georgia, I have never been to, but I am very grateful to the Atlanta metro area these days.
So you said there's 2 other emails? I don't see them.
Well, I think
They're in
that
the
one
chat.
of them we may have read on the show already, or else just talked about it amongst ourselves. I do not remember.
One's a meme. That's not an email.
One's a meme. We got a very nice meme from Andy M. Thank you very much. And did we read this email about the Brothers Grimm on the show? Or did we just
I think
talk
we talked about it in the group chat. Yeah.
Okay, I'll read it. So I'm listening to episode 3 of y'all's Mass Effect playthrough, and I'm at the part where y'all talk about the movies that scared you a lot as children/teens. This made me remember why I just flat out don't trust horses to this day. I watched Brothers Grimm as a 9/8-year-old, and the part where the horse straight up devours a little girl after spinning her in a spiderweb is permanently imprinted on my head. Same with it, and how I still have trouble sleeping with the door open to a drain.
Did this
Thanks
one
for the continued
have?
nightmares? Love the show.
Did this one have that guy from Goodwill Hunting in it, Matt Damon? Is that this
Yes,
movie?
it did have Matt Damon in it. The reason we were talking about this in the group chat, and I realized I did not copy who sent the email, which is very rude of me. It's from Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. We were talking about it in the group chat because I was confused as to how someone who was 8 or 9 years old when Brothers Grimm came out was old enough to be listening to a podcast. But it turns out that movie came out like 10 or 20
16
years
ago. I think it was
16
like
years ago.
I think it was like 2005, right?
Yeah. And I never saw it, but like somehow in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a very recent film when I read about it. It is not. Time, man. That's crazy. Y'all ever see Brothers Grimm?
No.
Oh, it's a Terry Gilliam movie too. Oh, crazy.
Is it really?
I mixed this one up with remember the Hansel and Gretel movie with like the good guy
Yes.
troll?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, that was
I mixed
a fun
this
one.
one up.
Oh, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
I mixed this one up with the Van Helsing movie with
With Wolverine.
Huge Ackman.
huge Jackman.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but I do like some of Terry Gilliam's movies, so maybe I should.
Excuse me, what's a Patreon?
Well, who a Patreon? So we got a Patreon for $3 a month. You can support the show and help us get equipment and stuff. And in return, you get to hear every single episode of bonus content we ever made. For $5 a month, you can vote a couple times a year, including right now. Neck and Neck, Deus Ex, Day of Sex versus Kingdom Hearts 2 are tied. What will win? Will it be a conspiracy theory laden early 2000 new metal RPG or a weird
Or
combination?
will it be Deus Ex?
Organization 13 is actually just a thinly veiled Illuminati reference.
I mean, it is though.
Oh no. And for no matter what you pledge, though, you have our thanks. And in order to say thank you for pledging and being a patron, we thank you at the end of the show by name. So, Jim, start us off here.
Sure. I would like to thank insert clever name here, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Alexander Jokic, Aaron J.L. O'Toole, Aaron Bachman, Tom, OMG, what is this game? Chris Penyak, I challenge the other Tracy to a duel to the pain. Andy Smith, Miguel Torres, Vanessa's mom, Aiden Marriott, a Vanessa's mom presents, Queeftus presents, Richard Burnish presents The Ark, Race Jenkins,
What?
Ryuji said the word, David Green, the ghosts of Johnny's murdered fable husbands, D. Jethro, Joseph, Kevin Walter, Isaac Wright, Saber Delta, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy Is, Wow Wow Wee Wah,
Yes, there he is.
Sorceress Vanessa versus Sorceress Adele, Cyril the Wolf, Dylan Rowe, Alex Dillard, More Like Final Fantasy Great, Arthur A., CharityWater.org, Andy M., Samu Mitchell, Jonathan Ellsworth, and Ross Hartley.
I'd like to thank Nathan Poirot, Florian Jonas Kramer, Go Cry Wolf, Robert T., Armin Hammer, Gage La Charité, still just a Zell stan, maybe a Zell apologist, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. Look, nerds, yeah, I'm late updating my profile name for Final Fantasy VIII, but I've been a busy boy. Paul Bursch, Tyler Petty, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021. That's this year. Christopher Highness, Huxley Iguana, Spectacular Final Fantasy VIII, Enemy Reference Failure. Jack Mizell, Vamos Sounders. Jason Timms, Vanessa's Gold, Taco Bell, PS5, Final Fantasy VIII, the only Final Fantasy where you can have two brothers be your girlfriend. Hexagon, Joshua Bennett, Sergeant Spaghetti, T. Bumpkins cannot stop listening to Man with the Machine Gun, and so can you. There is a great version of it on the Distant Worlds album on Spotify. I recommend that. The Fitnessgram Pacer Test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. Wow, I think they died while taking the Fitnessgram Pacer test. Ward, Childress, Triple Try, Try Hard, Tracy, Nick, Christian Go, George Brady, Stephen Paget, Brie Girth, GF Function, what's your GF Junction, what's your function? Mary Queen of Scoffs, Cassandra, Hat Ben, the Ben with a hat, Matt, Squall is a Wiener Newlin.
Ryan Miller, the RPG luminary, wonders when the hosts will discuss the plot of Miss Marvel. Snap, Crackle, Pop, I'm Chester Cheetah. Justin Rash, Ian Frederick, Eric Garby. My roommate was eaten by a T-Rexaw. Michael Crawford, I'm Commander Squall, and this is my favorite store on the garden. Soy Soda Pop, Lauren Prince Jameson, WWE Mike G, Rubber Bear by Buggy Baby Bumper, blah, 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 blah. Chief Hazard built a delicious sandwich for Matthew Van Zandt. Selfie goes choo-choo. Hudson Roth, Joshua Humphrey, Black Widow brand climbing oil. Matthew Casterline, David Pascal, Joshua W. Broxson, Norford, Marcus Hornsby, Sean Gonzalez Grayson, Matt Jorgensen, Andrew Leinhart, Zell Shorken Roxum Fubu, Ari Kopavara, Jake Dickerson, Eyes of the Shifter, Gunblading Sid, Chris Wilder, Citrus C, and Stu Skeel.
Why did you slowly develop an accent over the course of that?
I don't know, but I loved it.
I
turn.
would like to thank Randy P. Ally. Welcome to Cute Boy Jail. Honk honk. When performing The Stranger, it is technically stranger danger. Hails Vanessa's Renegade Cheese Plate. Mostly Rational Person. Adam Zimmerman. Devin Sloan. Brian Pitt. Robert J. Defendi. Fresh Eyes. Robert M. Pullum. Do Good Recklessly. Justin Ham. Ethan G. Pearson. William Westgard. Andres Rivera. Chris Ryan. Amanda Douglas. Wedge Coon. Cameron Shoei. Grey Code. John Scala. I have no memory of this game. PJ Ends. Sean Walsh. Zachary Train. Ricky Barty. Wash in the Wind. Play with My Squalls. Ron Ragin' Christ. Selfies. Ayaba Garden? Labia Garden. Selfies Labia Garden. Balam Garden is sponsored by Norg VPN. Listen up, Squoot Stains and Andy Best.
Okay, friends, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to send us an email, our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group. It's called the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can find us on Twitter. It is at Square Roots Pod.
I'm very worried about Matthew not knowing what a labia is. Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And to our new Ghana listeners, hey, I'm glad you liked the podcast. Thank you for listening.
All right, everyone. For Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon for Ghana.
And I am Vanessa. Toodaloo.
Bye.